Do you think it's misleading or selling false hope to have screenwriting books, to teach courses, to give people the idea that they can actually make a living as a screenwriter?
It depends on how it's sold. Okay, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, maybe a decade ago now, on Chapman's own website, they had a very clever kind of marketing thing. And it was a clapboard, and it said on it, it said like student's name, and then the feature film was your movie career. And I looked at that and I contacted the dean. You have to take that down. You're saying that people will get a career out of this. That's like, you can't say that. You can't sell the school on that idea because it's so difficult. You have to, yes, you're going to try to nurture them. You're going to try to help them be the best filmmakers they can be. But to say, to have like a warranty that, yeah, at the end of this you'll have a job, is not something that's ethical. The question of the function of the books and the function of the film school. Actually, I saw it. I'll quote somebody I saw just online recently, Martin Scorsese, saying if you want to pursue film because you think you'd like a career in it, then don't do it. If you want to pursue film because you will always be making films and you can't stop it, then do it. And that's how I see it. We have students that come in. What was it? I used to tell the prospective students, I don't know if I ever got in trouble for it, but I would tell them, they're all eager and they're thinking want to go to film school. I'd say, if you can do anything else and be happy, do it. Then before they got it accepted, before they applied, if you can do anything else, because this is going to be really, really hard and you'll have doubts. And most people don't have a career in it. But if you have that fire inside, you have the other point of view, which is at some point, well, let me tell you a personal story. When my first wife was passing away, she was in hospice, okay? And in the same room, there was somebody who I couldn't tell if it was a man or woman. It was this figure, very ancient, kind of like that. If it was time for a bath, the people came in, gave them the bath. If the TV was on all day, I don't know whether anybody was actually watching it. And I looked at that, I said, that's a reality. That's going to be you someday. And when you're in that position where you can't take a bath without somebody giving it to you, and you haven't really given it a shot, like do something that's really exciting. You haven't done that. You're not even going to be able to go like that. You're going to have to ask the nurse to do that. And that's the reality. There's wanting to do this thing and the fact that you're going to be in that place and we're all going to be there. What do you want it to be when you look back? And so if you don't do it, and a lot of people actually, they come out and then they find a niche somewhere else in the business. They don't have a movie made. And some will find it very interesting, but we have a really brilliant writer, graduated a few years ago, was a double major and got a great scholarship to study psychology as a grad student and is brilliant. And that's the direction she went. She now has an inside sense of what it's like to tell a story, see a movie, and never see a movie the same again once you've studied it. But she took a different path. So I don't think it was a waste for her. She was actually really good. So the question of the ethics of it, I think if people are interested in it, they're going to avail themselves of whatever they can. And it's up to them to try to see what's possible in their life. if you, but if you were to sell a product and say, this will get you in, this will be your ticket, this is the way to do it, then that's more on the edge. You don't want to raise people's hopes like that. You want to be honest with them. And we live, at a time, like I say, that the technology and distribution has changed. You may wind up making movies. They may just be smaller. They may be, you don't make a living at it. You do something else, but you are still making movies and you do it all your life. I know one person I've collaborated with who's about 81 years old, and he had a very successful career as a director and a producer. But he's 81, and when you're 81, everybody you know is dead, or they're not in the business anymore. But he's out there working with students. He's working with, he works at the Ruskin Theater directing. He just wants to, this guy will do it until he can't do it anymore. And it doesn't matter if he gets paid or not. He'd love to be paid, but he wants to be on a set with actors, working with them, creating magic for an audience. And that's in him, it's in his blood, and that's what he's going to do. So,
did you ever personally experience naysayers?
Naysayers?
Yeah.
Meaning?
Oh, people that tried to persuade you to do something else, or told you flat out, you'll never do this. You'll never even sell a screenplay, whatever. Did you encounter that? And
right. Well, I had this experience once of, well, you get a lot of it. When you're a potential writer as opposed to a writer. But actually, once you're writing, forget it, that's it. But you might have the impression, and I did, okay, well, I have potential here, but it's not realized, and maybe it won't happen. And then you have friends that are going on and having families and doing stuff. And I remember one time, Frank Danielle was this remarkable teacher. Well, he helped me write the thesis screenplay, but then a few years out of school, and I was trying to do a follow-up. That one had gotten me an agent and got me recognition and maybe gets my career started. But I found that without his guidance, the follow-up script was really hard. And I was struggling. And then I decided, well, I'll get into playwriting where I'll have an audience and get my spark back. And I went to this writing class at a play in New York, theater in New York City, and came home one day just so frustrated, and I decided, that's it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to do something else. That's it. And this voice in my head said, I wonder if there's a story in this. I wonder if I could turn this into a story. Okay, somebody who's so dead, they're going to give up. And that's when I realized it's never going to go away. It's just part of you, and you're going to do this. And I turned that into a play that won me the first prize I won for writing. I won my first $100 in San Francisco. It was nice. Done up in San Francisco. So that's maybe an example of naysayers, but certainly people don't get it, but it's about what you want to do with the bulk of your waking hours. Is that something that excites you? So.
And also the flip side of that is Tuesdays with Morrie. Where it's him advising Mitch Albom not to chase success and to stop and sort of see the life around him. So there's that as well, that whole...
Oh, right, of smelling the roses kind of thing? Because I've heard of that, but I've not read that.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great. You can also go on, it's based on a real guy. I think Maury Schwartz is his name. Yeah, and so he's fantastic in these interviews. And, it's a very touching story, and I think, Mitch is still writing. And
well, it's true. You have this idea of nostalgia. And most people I think of nostalgia as seeing the past wrongly. You don't see it properly because it's rose-colored glasses or it's an idealized version of your past. But it occurred to me a few years ago what nostalgia really is. It's experiencing moments in your past stripped of any anxiety for the future. Because when you're in that situation, when I think about it, in New York City, you're sitting among friends at a cafe, eating eclairs and having coffee and talking about stories. And it's like you're 25 years old and you have all this well, what could be better? And you stay there until the guy throws you out. You got to get another eclair, or we're going to get out of here because we got to have this table. And but at the time, you're worried about, well, is this a waste of time? Am I doing this right? Maybe this is all foolish. So it's harder to experience that joy. So this key to living, of course, is to experience every day as nostalgia, like stripped of this anxiety. But that maybe is what he's talking about, that you have these moments, and those moments are you're actually living. You're actually doing it. You're not about to do it, and you're not striving to do it. You're doing it right now, and that's what you do. So